My name is Daniette Tucker. My students know me as Mrs. D. I am a teaching artist for young audiences, and I teach illustration and bookmaking.
I was introduced to young audiences through my community arts professor, Blaise DePaulo.
And she was talking about how we could go into communities and change those communities through art. And we read books about it. We learned about poverty and the way that kids kind of rise out of those ashes. And I thought about some of my past and the things that I've been through in life, and I realized that teachers were my nurturers.
My name is April Kenny. I'm a 5th grade teacher at William Pica Old Post Road Elementary in Harford County, Maryland. I struggled as a student. I was a Title I student, so I lived in an impoverished neighborhood in a Title I school in Harford County, and I really had some teachers that made me want to hide under my desk and really made me scared to come to school. And then one year I had an amazing 5th grade teacher. She was able to get me to love learning and to love listening and to love collaborating with other people. And what she brought out of me is something that I've always wanted to bring out in other people.
You just said a butterfly. What butterfly?
Checkers.
Which happens to be the state butterfly of Maryland. So the connection is huge.
At William Pica, Young Audiences provides an opportunity for artists to come out and plan and collaborate with our teaching staff, and for the artists to come in and teach right with the teacher and work with our students on a weekly basis. Before we had Young Audiences at our school, attendance was a huge issue. It's still something we struggle with, but it was a bigger issue. Behavior was an issue. Student motivation and engagement were an issue. They weren't motivated to learn. They weren't excited about learning. And now we don't see those issues. They're jumping, they're dancing, they're creating, they're living, they're dreaming, and we see totally different students. They've transformed.
Adia gave me a great idea. She said there's a way to make a turn a stick person into. We all have a story to tell. And a lot of the times my students, they don't realize that the things that they go through in their lives can be used as a way to help others. And not only help others, but heal themselves. When I started writing my own story, I didn't heal from a lot of my past until I wrote it out on paper. And once I wrote it out on paper and read it back, it was just this load and weight that came off of me. And at that moment, I felt like, wow, this was really healing, and I wanted to give that to kids. And I love how you put this in the background, and you could even put even more little buildings back there.
Last year was a very challenging year for me as a teacher. I had a class of 21, and 17 of those 21 students were special needs students. I had a child who was born when her mother was 12 years old. I had a child who had a parent in jail and had never met that parent. I had a child who witnessed her father be shot right in front of her. I had several children who witnessed drug deals in front of their house. I had a student who knew how to cook meth in his oven. I had several students that were taking care of their younger brothers and sisters. I had several students that were afraid to go out their front door at night after it got dark. But I also had these students come to school and show that they could learn, would learn, and were excited to learn when we had artists come into our room. These same students were able to beatbox. These same students were able to create slam poetry. These same students were able to write stories that could make you cry, that could make you laugh. These same students were able to put on performances that engaged people of all ages.
It should fold backwards. And then you can lay it down. Young audiences also, they connect the young learners and the artists. They bring us in to find a way to maneuver through education, through the educational system, in a way that is fun and motivating instead of blah and boring.
Thank you.
This is life. This isn't a solution to a problem. This isn't an additional thing. This is a way of teaching that you can't explain in 1 minute. It's a way of engaging students. It's a way of reinvigorating teaching. It's a way of tapping into potential you didn't know was there. It's not just one solution. It's not just something you can sum up in a sentence. It's creating an atmosphere where the teacher can be a whole person and the students can be a whole person, because they're tapping into all of their artistic talents that the teacher didn't know how to develop, because they're not an expert in that art form, but that an artist brings the expertise in and fosters the opportunity for success, and the teacher brings the content, and you work together to make sure that both are developed and nourished.
These are moments that I am developing as an artist. I'm going deeper and deeper into my field, the things that I want to do with my life. So I'm not just teaching these students a medium and teaching them how to express themselves, but that time that I get with them, it's more time that I get to put into my art form. And they don't just see this lady standing up in front of them showing them how to do something, but they see this artist living in front of them.
If you moved him back here, he would be taller than your grass, right? Yeah. Okay, and these right here, these up here are what?
And so I'm a living witness. I'm standing in front of them saying, you can do what I do. You can do these things. You can write out, your dreams. You can help someone else. You can share this with someone and they can read it and maybe be able to relate to something that you've gone through and say, you know what, I can do this. And what better feeling to know that you didn't go through a lot of the things that you go through in vain, but you have it now where you can give it to someone else and help someone else along the way and inspire them to take what they've gone through in their life and put it down on paper.
Wow, that's a great job. You tripping. You over here acting like you can't draw and you can really draw. Can I show it?
I'm just kind of like the person that walks in to give them permission to do what it is that they feel all of the time.
I want to find that one thing that's special about them that makes them unique. And young audiences and the artists that we come in provide the unbelievable opportunities for me to be able to do that.